In this video, we're diving deep into the economics of two iconic universes, Star Trek and Star Wars. How do they compare? Let's explore the fascinating economic structures of these futuristic worlds and what they can teach us about our own economy. Star Trek shows us a world where money doesn't matter anymore. Everyone has what they need, and there's no poverty or hunger. But how does this system actually work? On the other hand, Star Wars is all about big business and trade. The Galactic Empire and various factions fight for power and resources in a galaxy where money talks. First, let's look at how things work in the world of Star Trek. In Star Trek, the economy is often described as a post-scarcity system. Thanks to advanced technology, especially the replicator, almost anything can be created out of thin air. Need a meal, a new outfit, or even a spare part for your spaceship? Just ask the replicator. For example, in Star Trek, The Next Generation, Captain Picard often orders tea, Earl Grey, hot, from the replicator, showing how everyday items are easily accessible. Society in Star Trek focuses on self-improvement and exploration. Everyone has the opportunity to pursue their passions, whether it's exploring new planets, studying science, or creating art. This idea is captured in the motto of the Federation, to boldly go where no one has gone before. However, this idealized system mainly applies to Earth and other core worlds within the United Federation of Planets. Many member planets of the Federation enjoy similar benefits, but the level of development and access to technology can vary. For instance, in Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, we see Bajorans, a newly admitted member of the Federation, struggling with resource distribution and rebuilding after the Cardassian occupation. Outside the Federation, the economic situation is quite different. Planets not part of the Federation often do not have access to the same level of technology and resources. They rely on traditional economic systems, including trade and currency, to meet their needs. This creates a diverse and sometimes stark contrast between the wealth and technology levels of Federation worlds and those outside its influence. But what about the challenges within the Federation? Even with advanced technology, not everything is perfect. In episodes like The Neutral Zone, we see tensions with the Romulans, who have a very different economic and political system. This reminds us that even in a seemingly ideal society, external threats and internal inequalities can still exist. Now, let's compare this with the Klingon Empire. The Klingon, known for their warrior culture and honor-based society, have an economy that heavily emphasizes military strength and conquest. The Klingon Empire, as seen in Star Trek, The Next Generation, and Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, often struggles with resource scarcity. Their economy relies on industrial production and mining, exemplified by the overexploitation of Praxis, their moon, which leads to environmental disaster. Unlike the Federation's cooperative model, the Klingon operate a feudal system where great houses control vast territories and resources, often competing with each other for dominance. This creates internal strife and hinders economic stability. Now, let's travel to the galaxy of Star Wars. Here, the economy is quite different. It's more familiar to us because it's based on money, trade, and power. The Galactic Empire controls vast resources and planets, often exploiting them for profit. Various factions, like the Trade Federation, have immense economic power, influencing politics and driving conflicts. In the era of the Old Republic, which predates the Galactic Empire, the economic system was somewhat different. The Old Republic was marked by a more democratic and decentralized approach. The Galactic Republic, established about 25,000 years before the events of the original Star Wars films, was initially an alliance for economic and mutual protection among the core worlds. It expanded slowly through diplomacy rather than conquest, leading to a more stable but still unequal economic landscape. Core worlds like Coruscant were prosperous, while the mid and outer rims faced more instability and poverty. For instance, in Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, we see the Trade Federation blockading the planet Naboo, highlighting how economic power can be used for political leverage. Additionally, in Star Wars, the Clone Wars series, we observe various planets and their struggles with trade, slavery, and economic exploitation by both the Republic and the Separatists. In Star Wars, you see a lot of inequality. There are wealthy, powerful figures like the Emperor and impoverished, struggling communities on distant planets. This creates a stark contrast to the more equal society seen in Star Trek. Did you know that in the Star Wars universe, the Outer Rim territories are often controlled by crime syndicates like the Hutts? These regions are beyond the reach of the Republic and Empire, leading to lawlessness and economic disparity. This adds another layer of complexity to the galaxy's economic landscape. One of the most significant differences is how resources are managed. In Star Trek, resources are abundant and freely available to everyone, at least within the Federation. In Star Wars, resources are scarce and valuable, leading to fierce competition and conflict. Let's consider the role of technology in these economies. In Star Trek, technological advancements like the replicator and advanced energy sources eliminate scarcity. In contrast, Star Wars relies heavily on traditional resources like spice from Kessel or the mining colonies in Solo, a Star Wars story. The differing levels of technological integration shape each universe's economic systems profoundly. The differences between the economic systems of Star Trek and Star Wars have a profound impact on their respective societies. In Star Trek, the post-scarcity economy leads to a focus on personal growth, exploration, and the betterment of humanity. With basic needs met, people can pursue their passions and contribute to society in meaningful ways without the pressure of financial constraints. This results in a generally utopian society where cooperation and scientific progress are highly valued. However, it's important to note that this ideal is primarily realized within the core worlds of the Federation. Other planets within the Federation might not be as advanced, and those outside it face more traditional economic challenges. In contrast, the Star Wars universe, particularly under the Galactic Empire, is characterized by stark economic inequality and conflict over resources. The Empire's authoritarian rule and the dominance of powerful corporations create a galaxy where wealth and power are concentrated in the hands of a few, while many others struggle to survive. This mirrors many of the economic disparities we see in our own world, making the Star Wars universe feel both familiar and cautionary. The Old Republic era, although more democratic and less centralized than the Empire, still experienced significant economic disparities. Core worlds like Coruscant flourished, while the outer regions remained less stable and more vulnerable to conflict and exploitation. This economic landscape set the stage for the rise of the Empire, as the promise of order and control appealed to those weary of instability. In summary, Star Trek and Star Wars offer two very different visions of the future. Star Trek's optimistic post-scarcity economy promotes equality and personal fulfillment, while Star Wars presents a galaxy fraught with economic strife and inequality. These contrasting economic systems not only shape the societies within these universes, but also provide valuable insights into our own world and the potential futures we might face. As we conclude, reflect on these two iconic franchises and consider what they reveal about our own economic systems and values. What kind of future do we want to build?